2 by the looks of things. I am feeling out of practice. Boy, you skip 2 weeks and all that good habits that you get in place go away. Oh my goodness, guys, I had such a good getaway. Such a good getaway. I've been kind of suffering since I came back. I think our snow mold is heavy duty right now. I came back with no issues. I had such a great time. It was only supposed to be a 4-day getaway with travel on either end there. And I got to extend it for 3 more days. So I ended up staying for... I'll just try to come through there. So hopefully you can still hear me. So it was fabulous, and it was a confirmation on how well I had been healing. I didn't get sick in my travels. Normally, keep it there. Sorry, I thought I needed to move that. Good morning, Miss Carol. And it was just such a good confirmation of how far I've come, and just so tranquil being on the beach. I have observed one thing. I think I understand why all the island people live longer than we do. I think they're half salt cured, and I would love to join them. Tell you what, being on the beach, taking in just the salt in the air is like so good for your skin and for healing, and oh my goodness, it felt so good. So I am back in the wilderness. My face is all puffy this morning. My eyes are all puffy this morning. I've been under just having a major attack since I returned, which prompts me to remind you guys. I've got my diffuser running right now. I've got a Himalayan salt lamp running. Not right now, but I did. And when you have nice days during this time of year, open your windows, allow your home to air out. It gets stagnant air in there and can certainly cause health issues sometimes. So if you are having health issues, mine unfortunately are outside with the snow mold. So I am just doing what I can inside the house, but I can't keep myself in. I love being out. We were out doing firewood. It just feels so good, but it's just something that I suffer from. It makes me sort of want to go back to the beach, but I do love my homestead, so here I stay. But guys, when you get the opportunity to step away from the norm, don't question it, just dive into it. That was just so refreshing for me. I missed you guys though. Let me see here. Let me get this machine working here. There we go. All right, got it back down so I can see your comments here. So how are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? Let me see here. Deb says, howdy, dear Trayer family, friends, and sisters. Love you all. Miss Diana says, good evening, Carol. And hello to Laura and Deb. Deb says, I think there is truth to that. Sea ocean water is healing in many ways. I left here. I call my hands bloody stumps. When I'm in dry, my hands crack and get terrible. When I'm in water, my hands crack and get terrible. When I left here, I had 2 knuckles that were cracked open from doing firewood. I caught them when I was doing stuff. So they were cracked open, and the palms of my hands and the tips of my fingers were all just heavily cracked open. I got down there, I got my hands in that water, and within a day, they were soft again. It's so crazy. That salt water is so healing, and I didn't swim. I have to be really careful because of my illness. Skin cancer has become a real issue for me, and that really sucks because I love being in the sun. So I had gotten a Patagonia shirt on eBay really cheap, which was a tremendous find because their clothes is very expensive, but it's one of those shirts that breathe so you don't like sweat to death when you're out in the sun, but it also keeps the sun from penetrating. It's got the UV protection. So I was wearing that and shorts and just walking. I walked so much down there. It felt so good. I love being on the beach. That is something I've missed greatly. I have not been to the beach in 13 years, so it was just like utopia. And the mountain man and I got to get away. and we split it between 2 days, but we got to rent Harleys while we were down there and do a little riding. Florida is not a place to be able to, it doesn't really have good roads for riding. It's just that it's sunny. You know, you can ride, 365, 724. So we got to ride. We rode up along a lake. I mean, the most of the riding, you're going through traffic lights. You're on, lots of people, lots of cars. But it was a lot of fun. The bikes were amazing. Newer years with big motors and a lot of fun. So we had a real blast. So getting away and being able to take that time is really important. Often we get opportunities and we question ourselves right out of them. I was very excited to be able to do that with the mountain man. The mountain boy held down the fort, and all is good. If you would please keep the mountain boy in your prayers. He has been sick since Saturday. Yeah. And not improving right now. So if you would please keep him in your prayers, I would greatly appreciate it. Let's see. Carol says, hi to all. Hope everybody is well. Sending out giant hugs to all. Deb says, thanks for the prayers. Been feeling them. Yes, ma'am. Miss Laura, we are praying for you. And we have 4 beaches around where I live. Aren't they awesome? I just love being at the beach. Just the sounds alone. I did a bunch of recordings where I just recorded the waves lapping. Oh, now I get why Laura said pray for me. She's prepping tax info. I know that's the next thing on my list too. I've been kind of putting it off. I hate doing it, but I've made it easier. So it shouldn't take long. But yeah, and I was waiting for everything to come to make sure I had everything I needed before I dive in, because I want to just do it, get it over with, and pass it on. So yes, I'm praying for you. I know how much joyful fun that can be. Diana says praying for Laura, and Laura says, thank you. And Carol says, of course, Laura, with hugs and love too. Terry, good morning. He says, good morning, my friend. I'm doing good. A lot better than the last time I texted you. Thank you for you and everyone's prayers. Hope everyone is doing well. We'll continue to pray. Find yourself in this journey you're on, and just focus on enjoying life, and the rest will follow. I promise you that. And that goes for all of you. Focus on the good in life. The more you focus on the good in life, despite what's going on around you, the better off you will be. You will bring good into your life. You will generate good in your life. You will focus on the good in your life. And in turn, it will all just start flowing. I promise you that. Stay in a good headspace. Lots going on. How are things in the UK, Miss Carol? I wish Keith would get on here. I'd like to ask Keith the same. And huge praises and prayers for Canada. Gotta love those truckers. Very thankful for those truckers, and we need to keep praying them up. Which reminds me, no more GoFundMe. GoFundMe shut them down. They had like $10 million, got $1 million out of it, and the funds were frozen by GoFundMe. That's terrible. But that's because they heeded to the pressures of the above. So no more GoFundMe for me. I will not be contributing nor using them ever in the future. Excuse me. Those are ways we can support, and keep whoop, making those noises again. Screen just went blank. But keep doing what we can, guys. There's a lot of ways that we can be doing stuff, and do what you can. We've got to plant our feet. We've got to support those that are really stepping up and really making a difference. And it's got to break here sooner or later. I saw Germany was standing and planting their feet too. So, just got to keep doing what we can. Deb says, I've even been dreaming again and remembering them. Wonderful dreams. Praise him. Yes, good dreams are good. And God is just not present in our day-to-day in our lives, but he's so present in our dreams too. The enemy can too, but I always pray at night before I go to bed for God to protect my dreams, protect me during the night. And remembering dreams, that's pretty crazy. I have always been able to remember my dreams when I wake up, and oftentimes be able to go back into my sleep and continue that same dream. And Terry, we will continue to pray for you. Guys, just continue to lift Terry in your prayers. He could use them. Good morning, Miss Shelley. She made it. She says, I am here and have the day off. The hours I thought I might have today were canceled. Well, there you go. So you get to renew today. That is awesome. I'm going to stick this in front of me. Look at that. That works. Okay. I have some good things for you guys today, some good ideas. You guys are all saying hello, hello. Terry says, I've been dealing with getting my tax papers from the military and have been praying to get them, and today it all worked out. God did hear my prayers to help me get them. Thank you, Lord. You know, he always hears our prayers. You know, I know several of you have mentioned that, you know, you pray and you don't know if God's hearing or listening. And trust me, God is hearing. You know, not... It's never that he's not hearing. It's that he's got a bigger plan than we can visualize. He doesn't show us everything. And never doubt that he's there. Never doubt that he's listening. He's always listening. He's just working things out in his time, in his means. And he will show himself. Don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. Just trust that he's working. Carol says, we got horrendous winds and rain at the minute. Woohoo. Oh, woohoo, the truckers. Yes, exactly. Praying for your winds and rain. Diana says, the convoy protests are spreading around the world. Yay, big prayers for all of them. I know I saw that they were heading to D.C., but I haven't heard any further news on that. But yeah, tremendous. And, you know, you got to look at it this way. These guys are giving up tremendous income by doing this. So wherever you are able to contribute, to help, to support. I saw the Mountain Man shared that he saw a pillow company. He couldn't remember the name of the pillow company, but a pillow company has a truckload of pillows that they're taking out to the truckers. You know, it's so amazing to see everybody rallying and to see everybody joining forces, to see the support they're getting. And that's what we got to keep doing. You know, that's what it's going to take. Is tremendous unity on our part to really stand firm and fight back, you know, and we just got to keep doing what we can. Laura's talking to Shelley that she's been on her heart and hope she's doing well. Yes, Carol, fabulous news for Terry. And Shelley says the hours were canceled today and now there is a possible of hours the next 3, but just got a message saying that it's not a go. I am working on the house and hope to get the spare craft room done. There you go. Change direction and just keep going. That's awesome. There's purpose in it. There's always purpose in it. Carol says we got 90-mile-an-hour winds coming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Not looking forward to it. Wow. Wow, yeah. Well, you're living in a stone house, so you're in a solid space, right? That's crazy winds. And it's even crazier coming off the ocean. Laura says, last I heard the U.S. trucker rally will begin March 1st. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. That's going to be something. It's you know, there's a lot going on in our world, you know, really, truly, when you watch what's happening in the U.S. government and within the government and the people within the government, it's like watching elementary school children. I mean, they're behaving no different than elementary school children would behave. It's very saddening. I'm being cautious on what I'm saying. I'm feeling a lot, but I'm not saying what I'm feeling. They need prayers, that's for sure, and we just need to keep planting our feet. We need to keep planting our feet and don't ever stop having a plan. We need to have plans in place for a lot of things, which we're going to talk about. And thank you for sharing that, Laura, on the truck rally, because I missed some of that. Shelley says, I was driving to work last Saturday and got stuck in the convoy. I did not see one big rig. It was only cars and trucks. Well, and that says a lot. That means that there's so many other people joining forces there. Oh, awesome, Laura. She says it's My Pillow. They're in Minnesota. Awesome. I just thought that was really cool. We need to contribute where we can. Okay. Diana says steadfastness in the face of all of this. Absolutely. Absolutely. We cannot cave. We cannot comply when things get heavy. And, and I'm just so proud of these truckers and the fact that they are steadfast. They're not quitting. They're giving up a lot personally to make a difference globally and for us all. And that says a lot. And that's why we need to support where we can. Miss Mill, you're in the house. Praying for you, sister. Miss Mill needs some prayers today. They need to get their cabin sold. So just pray for Mill today. She's got good mindset and spirits, but I know she could use some prayers. So lift her there, please. And Miss Shelley says, batten down the hatches, Carol. Yeah, for sure. Make sure you have all that you need in case. Yeah, those are crazy winds. Mill says, still did not get alert you were live, and I am definitely subscribed. Interesting. Oh, I know. Well, I think I'm really being stuffed down and probably shadow banned because it's really crazy. Although I am seeing a lot of different people commenting on the videos. It's not people I've seen before. I've even offended some. But not intentionally. And I know you guys don't take it that way. But I'm pointing out the need right now. I'm never trying to offend anybody. And that I heavily support whatever anybody's personal choices are. That's your choices. That's what you got to go with. But in my food video, when I mentioned not doing any of the monthly emptying your pantries right now and living out of your pantries, that was misunderstood. And obviously it's somebody new, because if they followed us, they would know that was not my intent. I'm just, we've got to keep preparing forward. We don't want to be diminishing quantities of anything right now. We want to be stocking up on those quantities. I know you guys get that. This individual did not. And I know you guys know that I support everybody's choices. Your choices are your choices. You've got to make the choices for you and your family. I will always honor that. God has all of us doing different things and things for a reason. And that's not my business to question that. But I am trying very hard to open the eyes of the masses and help them to understand that, although maybe preparing and time for preparing may not run out, it's going to get very costly as we progress. So keep preparing forward, guys. You know what I'm saying. Mr. Keith is in the house. You've been heavy on my heart, man. I've been wondering how you're doing. He says, greetings from New Zealand. Hi all. Day 10 of the occupation of Parliament grounds. So we saw that something was written that New Zealand was foregoing their mandates. Is that true or not? Let me jump back here. Mills. Okay. Yeah. So Mill, I don't know what's going on there. I mean, we're growing, but my numbers are weird and my analytics are weird, and they're going to get weirder as I start posting more videos. So, I saw somebody say earlier about hitting the like button. Please do hit the like button, comment, leave questions. Your questions are being answered in videos. I'm going to be creating videos to answer the questions that people have. Please subscribe, share the videos. If you feel they're worthy and that people will gain from them, please share them. Help us get out there, because I know that the topics I'm covering are causing us to be pushed down the list. So, your support and your help is greatly appreciated, because that will greatly help us reach others. Laura says, yes, pray for the government of the world. May God heap blessings on their heads like heaps of hot coals. Yep. Absolutely. We got to pray that the evil is brought forth, and that the evil, God will always use the evil for his glory. As Craig Bradley says, God does not waste a hurt. He doesn't waste anything. So he will use these things for his glory, but we need to pray. We need to pray him back into everything. It was pretty cool to see a bunch of kids rallying too, and standing against the mask mandates in their schools. I'll tell you, wearing a mask for a long period of time, oh my goodness. I had to wear it for 14 hours, and on the way home, that did me in. Part because I was congested, which, man, that's just terrible. And of course, that's a government mandate to fly. And of course, that's not going to get fought against very heavily because there's too many people needing to fly that won't fight that. That needs to be fought too, though. And there were mask Nazis going through the airports. Oh, I said that word. Anyway, Laura says, yes, pray for the government. I've read that one. Shelly says, we are still having problems getting supplies. I can only drink one type of non-dairy milk as they all seem to have sunflower in it and they have not been getting it. Shelly, have you considered getting coconut dehydrated and coconut milk powder? That is what I keep on hand. I just ran out of milk myself this morning. Up on the shelf there in that big glass jar is my coconut milk powder. I imagine that it has to be something that you can have. It's not as thick as like the oat milks and the things I like, but it's something to have on hand. And Carol says, I have, Shelly. Thank you. Hopefully Lorenzo's still coming Saturday so we can snuggle all day. I got some bread making stuff for us and some cake making stuff to keep us busy. Send me before and after. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, Shelly, you need to put your pictures of your room in the community. Also, for those of you that have not, please join our community, TrayerWilderness.com/community. Oh, and thank you, Shelly. Next Wednesday, I've already got the emails queued. We will be doing our live community Zoom. So those of you that enjoy being here in the community and joining us here, join us in the community and you will be able to do a live Zoom with us so you can go face to face with everybody. It's a lot of fun. So that is next Wednesday. So I will not be live here on YouTube. So go to TrayerWilderness.com/community and you can join us there in the Zoom. So let me see here. Oh, I know. It's very crazy, Diana. Diana says, if we speak the truth, no matter how gently, we will offend. Look at Christ. I know. And you got to remember that. You know, that's part of how I process things when we get any kind of negative responses to stuff. And it always awes me how people find negativity in it. But that is a thing. We are going to offend. And I hear other channels talking about it. You know, it is such a sensitive world we live in right now. And the things that offend are just crazy. You know, it's things that you and I would never find offense to. The thinking of the world in general is very jaded, very twisted, very backwards. We all know this. And it's so visible in so many ways when you look at the media and you look at what's happening in the world. And even when you're out and about. It was nice being on away for a little while and regaining that glimpse that there are still good people in the world. I met some amazing people while I was off the homestead, and that was refreshing. And you know, you watch the media and they make it look like the whole world is bad, and that's not the case. But there is a lot of jaded thinking, and you know, that's what we're trying to touch and reach and help people to see before it's too late. But you know, you can only talk so much. As I say, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And that is a lot of what we're seeing today. So for those of you that are willing and open to hearing what we have to say here at Trayer Wilderness, I thank you. I thank you for all the hard work and efforts you are putting forth, not only in your family, but in your surroundings. And that's what we've got to do. It's going to be what it's going to be. So Shelly says, one of our local grocery stores has put a price freeze on everything. I hope more do this. That's pretty awesome. That's really awesome. Shelly says, I will look into the coconut milk powder. I don't know if I have a link for that handy, but it's great. It's great stuff. It's great to have on hand. I can't have dairy. I've got to have a non-dairy. So that is a great replacement and something great to have on hand. It will also last long. Keith says our convoy was 40 miles long and every crazy is headed there and none of the tow companies will move the mess. Lots of fun. There you go. He says to Carol, I'm fine. Biggest shambles here ever. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. And I know, Keith has shared his thoughts on things. It's some crazy people out there. Diana said, yesterday I got a dose of what those in the body of Christ are thinking and believing. It was so upsetting. They don't want the truth either. No, they don't. They don't want to see the truth. And as you said earlier, think about what Christ dealt with. And that's just it. We've got to remember, we've got to have really thick skin and not really care what other people think. And when things are spoken, to just understand that their thinking is jaded, and I feel more sorry for them than I do anything else. And I do stop and pray for them, because they will be the first of the population that's going to go. And that's a horrible way to think about it, but it is a truth. If you're not prepared when things come your way, you're putting yourself and your family in jeopardy, and you really need to have plans in place. Yes, absolutely, Shelley. She asked if you could pray for her daughter. Her daughter's name is Sarah. Can lead a horse to water, but what I need prayer for. They have finally put her in a women's correction facility, and there is lots of help there. Pray she will accept the help and will stop blaming everyone else for causing everything bad that has happened to her. Yep. It's a good thing. I agree, Diana. She says it's a good thing, Shelley. Yes, she's off the streets. She's in a place, and the longer she's there, the greater opportunity for her to be broken and for her to see the truth and accept the help. So we will continue to pray, Shelley. Yes, absolutely. I feel that our prayers have gotten her to this place. So we will certainly not stop praying. And this is where we need to trust that what God is doing and what he has in store for her, God can change any kind of person. So let's just keep praying, and also pray over her that all evil is removed as well, because I'm sure she's in types of bondage as well. So continue to pray there. And Keith, I know you're away from the mess, so I'm glad you're doing well. I'm going to shoot you an email. I have some questions, and I have some things to share with you, some insight I think I've gathered on my own that I'm curious for your take on. So I'll email you, and then maybe we can share that information later, because I want your thoughts first before I share globally. Carol says, brilliant news, Shelley. The time is now. Amen. Amen. Shelley says, I've been praying for her to see the light and go away from the darkness in her life. Yeah. And sometimes this is something that we always say, and you guys know the truth in it, that who you surround yourself with makes such a big difference in our lives. And if you are surrounding yourselves with junk, you're going to be junk. If you surround yourself with goodness, you're going to be good, have goodness in your life. So she is now removed from a lot of that darkness. And granted, she's in that space with other dark souls, but the thing is, they're in a place where they can get help, and hopefully the help and the light of Jesus will shine through there. And that's what we need to pray. Laura says, of course, Shelley, prayers for your daughter to accept Christ and to fill her heart with joy and love. Yes, we'll pray for her at the end too. I want to read something to you guys. Before we dive into, I'm going to do things a little backwards today. I want to read this. I really think this is so good and so important and plays into what we're talking about here. Okay, so it's 2 Corinthians 3, 5 through 6. Our competence comes from God. He has made us competent. David was on a roll. He kept winning battle after battle. He had the Midas touch. Everything he touched turned to gold. But success can go to your head, and David wasn't exempt. He started wondering, just how strong are we? At that point, he conducted a census and discovered he had 1,100,000 fighting men. That was in 1 Chronicles 21:5. That could tempt any of us to think, with any army this size and given our track record of success, who needs to pray for God's help or ask him for a plan? That was the point at which God stepped in and judged David, and 70,000 Israelites died needlessly. So here's another aspect of leadership you need to be aware of. And it's not just leadership, it's in us individually. I want to point that out. Your mistakes have the potential to hurt others. You're not just accountable to those who are over you, you're responsible for those under you. And I take that very seriously. I want to share that in my teachings here. You know, I always come to this space humbly because I take what I'm doing very seriously, where God has placed me, how God is using me. And it's important that we do that in every setting. So it says, after all, if your good decisions have the ability to bless and guide people, your bad decisions have the potential to harm them. David said to God, was it not I who ordered the fighting men to be counted? I, the shepherd, have sinned and done wrong. Let your hand fall on me and my family, but do not let this plague remain on your people. God graciously answered David's prayer, and judgment was lifted from Israel. So you need God's guidance for your own sake and the sake of the people around you, and to give you the grace to accept responsibility when you fail. Don't try to hide your failures, blame others, or run from God. Acknowledge them, grow through them, and go on to become wiser. I share that today because I think it's really important. So often when I'm going to put this in a preparedness situation, you know, we stock up. We have so much stuff, and we feel secure in our stuff and secure in where we are. Good things are happening. So when good things are happening, we feel less need for God. And I just want to remind you guys that we can't take God out of the equation ever. No matter what we are walking out, no matter what it looks like, God needs to be first in the equation. God always needs to be first. God always needs to be where we are seeking our wisdom, our knowledge, and our direction and guidance from. Some of you may pray for that and not hear God's still small voice, or you don't think you are. You know, part of that is stepping away sometimes too. You know, I walked away for 7 days, and it was a tremendous blessing. But I don't ever not take that into consideration here as well. I know I need to step away. You know, these pieces of equipment right here can be the devil. You know, and I don't like giving the devil more credit or recognition than he needs. But these pieces of equipment pull us in so much that we don't take time to step aside. You know, we might pray and then we go right back to the machine. Step away from these machines. You know, Keith knows wholeheartedly what these machines are capable of. And 5G is getting turned on this week globally. You know, and that's going to have a big bearing on things. Take time not only to pray. You know, if you are seeking God's guidance in something, and you're not stepping away to a still quiet place at some point, you know, it's likely you're not going to hear a still small voice, because you're so consumed by the world and what's happening in the world and what's happening on social media and what's happening in your inbox. You know, we need to step away, and we need to keep God first and keep praying for God. It is 2 Corinthians 3:5-6. And 1 Chronicles 21:5 is what it was, Diana. Oh, I see what you're asking me. Good question. Sometimes they abbreviate them in funny ways, and let me just confirm. You might be right. It might be Chronicles. It's CO. So Colossians possibly. Let me double check that. Thank you. They don't keep the same abbreviations at all times. Sorry, hang on a second here. I think it's Corinthians. It's Corinthians 3, 5 through 6. Yeah, it's 2 Corinthians 3, 5 through 6. It is not what we think. It is not that we think we are qualified to do anything on our own. Our qualifications comes from God. He has enabled us to be ministers of his new covenant. This is a covenant not of written laws, but of the Spirit. The old written covenant ends in death, but under the new covenant, the Spirit gives life. So it is 2 Corinthians 3, 5 through 6. Thank you. And then down further, though, it is 1 Chronicles 21, 5. That the mention of the fighting men. All right, let me jump into your comments here. Mill says, I'm back, Keith. My hair is coming back in. I have bangs now. Thank you for helping me out. Swelling gone in foot too. You're the best thing since sliced bread. You're a keeper for sure. How about it, right? And I'm glad you mentioned your hair. Had a funny situation happen. My hair is coming back in, and thankfully it grows. Before I left to go, I went to get my hair trimmed, and I wanted these long sweeping bangs. She started on this side, and for some reason thought I said feathered bangs. So this side got feathered up here until I realized what she was doing, and they're sweeping down here, and this side's untouched. So thankfully it grows back, but my hair is getting so much healthier. So yes, a big thank you to Keith, because he is the one who mentioned using the sea kelp, and that helped tremendously. And what we use on our hair and on our bodies makes a huge difference also. But it's really crazy. The shedding that comes from COVID is insanity. I never saw anything like that. I shedded through my illness because of the toxins, but nothing like what COVID created. It's pretty crazy. I do believe that we are going to see oddities for a long time moving forward as a result of the crud. But yes, Keith is definitely a keeper. Keith's knowledge is and I'm going to say this on here now for all of us. What is shared here is brought to you by individuals through our experience. We are not doctors. We are not nurses. We are not of the medical system. We are sharing what has worked for us. So using sea kelp has helped greatly with renewal of the hair, renewal of growth in the hair. I was also using Activations Alive, which is phytonutrients. And you can find them by going to TrayerWilderness.com/activation. And I think if you go to TrayerWilderness.com/sea kelp, you will also find the supplements that I was taking. And I definitely need to talk to Keith too. My face is like so puffed up today. It's crazy. Like I said, I came back and I think I'm allergic to my house, but I actually know that it's just the snow mold going on, but crazy. Diana says, quite freeing, Shelley. That stress was not helping you physically, mentally, and spiritually. Amen, right? That was, and I want to mention that to everybody. One of the things I've been noticing, I shared this with the mountain man today, and I'm going to share it now, is the quick aging of people right now. And I really see that. And I believe that that is a result of the stress that we are under right now, our food, the crud, and so much more that's happening in our world. But I really want to remind you guys to try to keep yourselves in the most healthy mind space you can. Regardless, you know, we need to pay attention to what's happening. You will hear me say that over and over again. We need to be aware, but we also need to be able to find that still quiet space and put ourselves in a good mindset and be aware of our levels of stress and keep ourselves in a healthy space. It's really important. I can't express that enough. Shelley says, that is for sure, Diana. Last week I sort of shut down for a few days between the loss of a friend, being fearful of a client who was passing away, and became violent, and my daughter. Yeah, life can bring on a lot at one time, and shutting down is not a bad thing. That means that you are stepping away from it all and allowing yourself to process and regroup, and that is basically what I'm telling you to do, is just to take that time. Exactly, Carol. You know, exactly. The average person would be rocking in a corner, you know. So our life experiences create the strength and the warrior in us that we need. So remember that when you're walking through stuff. It's not wasted. It's not wasted ever. You're becoming the warrior you need to be. And exactly. Carol says, you're stronger than you know, Shelley. You got this. I'm just finding myself again, getting things done. And yes, I have been walking away from my social media and computer. It's important. We all have to do that. We all have to do that. I have to do that. You know, I'm in front of these boxes. I'm in front of my laptop all the time. I've got a lot of client work. I'm in front of these machines. You know, we got to protect our bodies from these machines, our minds from these machines, and just, you know, exist outside of electronics. We really do, you know, and that is my life, but I still make it a point to do that. You know, it's a fasting from electronics. Is Miss Jane in the house? Miss Jane is in the house. She's back, I believe. And that's good, Shelley. You know, that's what I suggested to Terry, too. You know, when we walk through tough spots, it's time to start finding ourselves. You know, we lose ourselves in certain situations because of having to either be there for others or what life has walked us through. You know, we need to process all that and take time for ourselves. So Carol, Mill says, Carol, did you finally get the moisture issues fixed? Sure hope so, sister. Hope you and Lorenzo and all are doing well. Yes. Yes, last I heard you walk through that process, right, Carol? You are on the dry side now, correct? And Shelley says, I know I have this, but I think I just needed to digest it as it took so long for this to happen. Exactly. And also just acknowledging it and breathing past it and accepting the fact that you now have freedom from it. So that's huge. Deb says, yes, Diana, good verses. Yes. Don't ever take God out of the equation. You know, I jump back and forth, but I really want to remind you of that. And regardless if you are in a leadership position or not, don't ever take God out of the equation, and however God is using you, you know, understand that we play a big role and we need to be aware of our own headspace. You know, go into things humbly and be conscious of that too. Shelley says, I'm so happy that Keith was able to help you, Mill. Yeah, you know, guys, I love how God gives us each our superpowers, and through the lives we walk, God gives us knowledge, and that knowledge is there to help ourselves and help others. And it's a tremendous blessing to see that hand being shared in our community, not just through Keith but others. But it's just Keith, you are a keeper, my friend. We treasure you. You've been, like I said, heavy on my mind. I've been wondering how you were doing. I know you're away from it all for the most part, but it's good to see the stands being taken. Let's just hope that these stands make the difference that we want. Carol says, most of it, Mill, but we got horrendous rains and wind and more coming Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Lorenzo is good, thank you. He's growing like a weed. I bet. I can only imagine. He's going to be a completely different kid in your garden photos this year, which I want to talk about. I want to share something with you guys. Mill says, Shelley, definitely will be praying for your daughter and as always praying for you. How are things with your neighbor? Hopefully the Lord is handling that for you. Stay well, my sister. So Miss Jane is in the house. Miss Jane, your trip was amazing, was it not? And thank you for keeping us in the loop and sharing all your goodness with us. She was sharing some of her pictures in the community. Oh, to have resources like that and to have access to all the fresh produce. Shelley says, Jane, glad you're here. We missed you. Deb says, appreciate all your prayers with all my challenges and the peace I have felt through all of it. God has been totally in charge. He always is, especially if we let him. So we'll continue to pray. I shared with Glenn about Bella, and that is just so incredibly hard. I mean, it's hard to keep a lazy dog still, let alone one with high energy, you know. So her dog had a knee injury, and she's supposed to keep it completely still for, what, six weeks or 6 months? That got twisted in my brain. I know it's a long time. 6 weeks with a dog like that in and of itself is hard. So Jane says she's back for a minute. She's packing and leaving. I know she is. Mill says, how was your trip, sister? It looked fabulous. That it did. Good morning, Miss Tracy. And good morning, Miss Mylinda. Miss Mylinda, how did things go with your job search? She says, bless you, dear sister. Working on lots today, but just wanted to stop in and say love you, and you looked so refreshed. Ah, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not feeling that when I look in the mirror, but I appreciate that. So I'm gonna stick to that. She says, gotta run, praying for you all, and you, dear sister. Praying for you too. Been praying for you for work. We've been missing the lives, and I was live on the beach. That was really cool. I did church on the beach. That was amazing. I felt like I was like being hugged by Jesus. It was so awesome, but I couldn't see the screen well enough to keep up and comment. Hey, Miss Rhonda, she's in the house too. That's okay. Join us late. That's all right. We're glad you're here. Shelly says, the company I work for has a bold dreams and goals contest that I have filled in for. They give $1,000 to help you with your dream. I want to be able to make a bunch of dishcloths for the needy. Oh, there you go. That's really awesome. When will you know if you've been accepted and you have already applied? I think that's a great idea. Jane says it was great. Funny, all goods and services are available there. No shortages. My body is already feeling yuck back here. I know. Jane, I felt so good on the beach and the dry and the salt, and man, I got back here and I'm like getting kicked in the butt. It makes me question that, but me getting the mountain man to that kind of a climate, we're just gonna have to go to Alaska to a big lake with a beach on the front of it. Something. I'm gonna have to add my own salt. She says, I think the temps and the altitude and the no GMO, no sugar made such a difference, a huge difference. Yes, I'm sure, but there is definitely something to be said about the climate. You know, in summer months, I have no problem here. But man, it does kick me in the butt this time of year. And I left feeling yucky and got down there. I just didn't know what to expect. And oh, I was so thankful. I felt so good. Excuse me. Bella is so amazingly smart and finally figured it out. So she's taking it easy now? That's awesome. That's huge. Praises for you, Jane. I'm trying not to be envious. So exciting for you. I know, right? It's pretty exciting. We're living vicariously through her new adventure. So that's pretty cool. So Shelley says, I have applied and should find out on the 18th, I believe. I want to make the dishcloths for the local food bank to give every person some new ones next year for Christmas. Oh, that's really awesome. Very awesome. And who knows, that might turn into something that will continue for years and years ahead. That's pretty cool. So, I am just going to pray for you guys all globally today, because I know we all need prayers. God is working, God is moving, and God is in control. I totally believe that. I totally believe that. You know, we see his hand in the goodness and the things that are happening. And in order for his glory to be seen, we need those crazy things to happen. And, you know, that's one thing that when we're walking out things in our lives, it's important to share them. It's so important to share them, because our testimony is a result of God giving us something to walk through so that he can be glorified. So remember that. Don't hold out on sharing God's glory. My Linda says, hi to Carol. So sorry to have to run, girly, but I will watch this later tonight. Been interviewing and working on the channel and seeing prayers answered this way for all. Awesome. Yeah, God is constantly answering prayers, Shelley says, Mill, my neighbor is somewhat better and her son has stepped up and is doing much more for her. She still has her days, but I am walking away and trying to just be her friend again. Good for you, Shelley. Shelley, you were there for her, but, you know, in all circumstances, sometimes we need to evaluate how we are being useful. And when it comes to a point where we are more of a crutch than being useful, it is time to step back. And that's where we just need to keep seeking God for guidance, wisdom, and knowledge. And, you know, it is our duty and our nature to love and to help, but there are times too, and we've had to do it ourselves here, where we have to step away and let other things take its course. And that's what you did, and God is working it all out. So praises to him, praises to you. You are now in a place of less stress. Get your craft room done, do things for you this week. God will provide, and I'm anxious to hear what happens on the 18th. That's pretty cool. Maybe God has new plans for you, sister, and a new .org. Thank you, my Linda. She says, preach it. I'm just speaking what God puts on my heart. Deb says, I'm headed to work. We'll continue to listen. Love you all. Love these times together. Absolutely. And remember, guys, next week, thank you, Shelly. Again, I can't thank you enough. I zoned on January's. The last Wednesday of every month is our community Zoom. And I had transferred everything to the calendar, but I didn't write Zoom on there and totally zoned. January really started with a boom for the Trayers. Had a lot of new web clients, still do, that I'm working on, which reminds me, I want to ask you guys to check out treasuredcreationshomestead.com. That is Miss Tracy. And to check out MsDecluttering.com. That is Miss Diana. Check them out. I'm going to actually, well, maybe one of you will type those in the comments below so that you guys can go check them out. If not, I will find my keyboard and type them in. 2 new businesses taking off, and I'd like to support them, so check them out. Miss Diana can declutter your home no matter where you are. Zoom is a beautiful thing, and Miss Diana is very good at what she does. So check that out. But yes, I zoned. So next Wednesday, 10:30 Pacific Standard Time will be our community Zoom. If you are part of our community, you will get a reminder email the day before, the morning of, and 15 minutes prior. The beauty of Zoom is that we get to go face to face. Right now, you guys see me. I don't see you. I just see your names. I like seeing your faces, your smiling faces, hearing your stories, your testimonies. It's pretty awesome stuff. I love where Papa has placed me. I'm in a seat that gets to watch so many miracles and blessings taking place. God answering prayers. It is very awesome. Yes, my Linda, be still and know that God is who he is, and he is on the throne. Amen. Amen. That's why I said we need to step away. You know, I'm telling you guys to pay attention. You need to pay attention to what's happening. You need to continue planning and preparing. I'm going to talk about planning. But you also need to take that time away fast from electronics and know that he is there. Trust that he is there. Listen for his still small voice and seek him. Build that relationship. It's important. He needs to be first. Yes, Laura, I agree. Drive carefully, Deb. Shelley says, my mom is willing to come out on Friday and help me put the room back together. She will help me sort through some of the stuff I have and get it organized. Awesome, awesome, awesome. It's always fun to have an extra set of hands. My Linda says, headed out. So glad you have such a glow about you today, sis, and it's encouraging me. Well, thank you. I'm glad to know that, and I'm glad to be an encouragement. I give God all the glory, and I'm glad you made it here. Awesome. She'll check out those businesses, and she says, I love Zoom Bible studies and just doing my first today. I'm out. Love you, ladies. Love you too, lady. Take care. And yes, speaking of Bible studies, this is our last week in Chase the Lion. We will be starting our new book next week. So if you're interested in joining us for the Bible study, it is starting fresh. And you can go to TrayerWilderness.com/Bible Study Book Club and join us. We have an awesome group. So next Wednesday for Zoom. Yes, it is the last Wednesday of the month already. Yes, we are heading to the last Wednesday of February. Can you believe it? It's crazy. Yes. So next Wednesday. Yes, Deb. And you'll get emails. I've already got them queued. I'm trying to be ahead of the game. Shelley says, I just rewatched The Shack last week as part of my renewal from everything that happened. I really enjoy watching that movie. That renews me too. I love when he and Jesus are walking on the lake. That just is so awesome. So awesome. It's a controversial movie, controversial book, but I think there's a lot of takeaways in that. And I think that because of the way that was done, it will reach people that maybe we wouldn't normally reach. I also think that if you're going to watch The Shack or read the book, that you should also do Returning to the Shack, which is the story behind the book, which explains it in great detail. And it is awesome. It's very awesome. Those were free on Amazon. I think if you go to TrailWilderness.com/the shack, you will find those. And Returning to the Shack, I think I have also set up. So check those out. I really like them. There's a lot of really good takeaways. And it's important to know the story behind it too. I know, it's only 28 days, Deb. I know, so it's good I was paying attention. Because I wasn't in January. Clearly wasn't. That was so funny. Shelly came over from the Zoom to join YouTube. And I'm like, totally zoned. So, like I said, no one is perfect. And you just got to roll with those imperfect moments. So that's what we did. So, wow, Laura says, I didn't realize we were that close to March. Seems like we just missed January. I know. It's flying like crazy. I know, I did mention gardening and then I went totally off it, didn't I? I did. Okay, so now's a good time to start seeds for many of you. For me, no. This is what it looks like here in North Idaho. So it'll be a while. But I do want to share something with you guys. You know that little greenhouse that I created out back? It was made of pallets, some scrap wood, and we put white clear plastic over top of it, and I put the planting bags in there, and I grew some tomatoes and peppers. Well, you see the amount of snow we got. I'm gonna share this with you. Sorry, my hand and now my face real close. Let me spin this around and share this with you. Whoop. There it stands. Now the little shelf that I had out there that I had seeds on and plants on fell over because of the weight of the snow. But there that sits. Why is that still sitting there? That is still sitting there because it was generating enough heat, even in our cold temps, to keep that snow off of there. I share that with you because it's something so simple and it's still standing. And I am putting my seeds in there, and I'm going to start my seeds, and I'm going to see what happens. Our greenhouse and our well are in the future for this year. Mountain Man has got a heavy-duty work schedule. So we're putting plans in place, just like we did last year, and we will see what happens. Those are really important aspects of our homestead life. And I must say, once being out in the real world for a week and having running water, and I have running water, but I had endless amounts of running water. I don't have that here yet. So that certainly hit it home that that's first on the list. And then our greenhouse. But in the meantime, I am going to use my little space. Miss Carol, you've got your little garden, your little greenhouse shelving. Get them going. You know, you're going to have to base things on your last frost date and the germination time of your seeds. But I want to share something else with you. These egg cartons are really cool. I don't know how easily this label will come off without wetting it, but if you soak this and pull this label off of here, then it'll come off. These would make great little mini greenhouses to put your seeds in to start them. So something as simple as what you would normally throw away, which I don't. I have quite a collection of these in the container out there, because not only are these great to start your seeds and reuse over and over again, but you can also, you know, store cherry tomatoes in these. You can store your drying seeds in here. These are great little useful tools for a lot of different things. I'm just going to share today on gardening. There's a lot of uses for egg cartons. Another use for those is making your fire starters. But that is a great tool. The other thing you can use is jugs, and put them over your plants. But that is a good testament right there, just to show you how they produce heat. And I knew they were producing heat because the cat was just hanging in there. You know, he'd go in there and curl up around the bags and just lay in there because it was warmer in there than it is outside. So I don't have a good thermometer period outside, because the one that we do have, I thought had an encasement around it, and it didn't, and the snow got up over it and it messed it up. So I need to get a thermometer. I'd like to experiment out there and see what the difference is. I know we have some cold snaps still on the way. We've had some very unseasonably warm weather. So it's going to be interesting because this has been a very weird weather year last year. And I know this year is going to be also. But for many of you, you are able to start seeds. I know you folks in the South have probably already got yours started. We are always behind. We've had snow into July already out here, our first year. So, but having a greenhouse or a temporary greenhouse is key in your Pacific Northwest and your colder regions. And there's so much that can be done in your area in just a small space. So I'm going to prove that because I am going to start getting seeds going here and doing a little experimenting so that I can see what I can do. And I could have kept things going in this winter. I could have done some winter crops in there, which I still could. So I'm going to be doing a little more experimenting with that. Shelley says some of the people in the local gardening group are talking about planting peas soon. Yes, and I hope many of you went to that gardening webinar that was going on back on the 26th when I did the last. That's so crazy. It just seems so far away. But the other thing I want to mention too is down below are the references for the family garden and the family garden planner. So it's family garden plan and the family garden planner. You can go to TrailWilderness.com, family garden plan, and TrailWilderness.com, family garden planner. Those are from Melissa Norris and they are must-haves. One of the things I am working on is a book page on our website. I have a lot of resources and I have a lot of things spread out, but I'm getting all of my book resources on one page, and I'm going to break them up by category. Categories will be across the page, so you can easily click and go to that portion of the page to locate what you are looking for. I love books. I think books are an extreme important tool in our toolkit, and having hard copies of books. I have a lot of Kindles, but I also have a lot of hard copy books. It took me a long time to switch over to Kindle. I like having the Kindle because I can read from anywhere. But I have been delving into a lot of my gardening books, a lot of my herbal books. This is that time of year for me. So now is a good time more than ever to be planning your garden, and having a plan is really important. Having a plan in place. Also being willing to roll with that plan when things don't quite go as planned. But when you have a plan written down and a plan in place, it helps concrete it. It helps make it more of a reality and more of an opportunity to come true. If you just think it, it's not doing anything. But when you put your dreams and your goals into action, that's where the power comes from. So start planning, start writing things down, start organizing. We are going to use the space where we have potatoes and start really revamping that and the soil that we do have, the good soil that we do have, and utilize it this year. We really have to be careful of the deer. So we have some of the fencing up, but we're going to need to really get that in place in order to grow things. They will sabotage that in one feasting. But get a plan. Start writing it down. Shelley says, now wait a minute. I do not know what I have done this year, but the basil I planted last year and brought in this fall is still growing. I kill everything in the house. Well, you've got a green thumb outside, so suck it up. That's pretty awesome. And, you know, the more we continue to work on these things, you know, if you're new to gardening, you're going to have some struggles. Things aren't going to produce the way you'd like them to. You might have bugs. You might have different things happen. But don't lose sight of that and don't allow that to deter you. Allow that to be the things that you learn. You know, those are things in your area that could potentially be a problem. Now you learn how to resolve them and you keep going. Don't let it stop you. Growing our own gardens is one of the biggest things we can do for ourselves to help us be prepared. And greens are important. You can't just live on meat and potatoes. Right now, I'm doing a lot of athletic greens. They are so good, and they are really, I really feel a difference in doing that daily. But having greens is extremely important in our diet. Eating fresh fruits and vegetables is extremely important. Just have no idea the difference between that and store-bought plus dehydrated, freeze-dried. I mean, they're good, but when you can get the nutrients from the fresh, that's so much better for you. Carol says, I got my greenhouse, but the wind's coming up. It's not going out yet. Yeah, I guess not. Yeah, keep that in for a little bit. And we will be praying for you. When did you say you're supposed to get the wind? Saturday? I will be checking on you. Diana says also the plastic clamshells that salads and other items come in. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Shelley says we went down to my son's this past weekend and helped them plant their apple and cherry trees. We also helped to get some of the posts ready to put around their garden. Awesome. 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 We're going to do a little experimenting. There's a master gardener here, and he never puts fencing up. What he does is he puts up poles in the ground, and he puts one that's really, really tall, and then another one that's short, and then one that's really, really tall, and another one that's really short. And he goes the whole way around his garden. And in doing that, the deer, it evidently messes with them in some way that they don't enter, because they see the tall one and think it's taller than they can get over, so they don't bother trying. And he's had his garden that way for years and years and years out here. He's a really, really unique man. We've been gleaning a lot from him. So we'd like to kind of try and play around with that. I've seen the deer being really sneaky. I have a video. I was sitting here working the week before I left, and I caught movement out of the corner of my eye. This deer like stealthed over underneath the window right up against the house and looked up at me. It was like right outside the window, and the cat was sitting on a cooler right outside the window. They were right there, smack face to face. It was really funny. I feel like I have my own little magical garden here. It's kind of funny. The animals have been coming in. They are so hungry. So I've been putting out scraps from different things, a little bit of cabbage here and there, some carrots, and some portions of pumpkin. It's amazing what they eat, but they're so hungry, which reminds me, I do have it mentioned in another video, but if you ever decide to feed the deer because of a heavy winter like this, and also because of, we had illness come through here, virus came through and wiped out a lot of deer right before archery season. And so we got a bale of alfalfa. They had Timothy, and the guy at the feed store said don't ever feed the deer Timothy, because what happens is they will eat it, but they don't digest it, so it kills them anyway. So alfalfa is the thing you want to, do to feed the deer if you are choosing to do so. I just thought that was good information. I wanted to pass it on. Shelley says the webinar was really good. Yeah, it was really good. Jason's awesome. And Diana, yeah, any of those plastic clamshell things that we can utilize just to start the seeds. I don't like to use anything plastic, and even like some people use tires to grow their potatoes. I don't like to do that because of what leaches out of those things into the food. I'm just very cautious with that because of what I've gone through. The mesh bags, I don't mind planting in. Those are good. And I don't mind starting things in these things, but I don't like keeping them in plastic if I can avoid it. Same with the jugs, anything like that. When it gets hot and it's in the sun, it's going to release some of its stuff. And I just don't I don't mess with that. I don't mess with aluminum. I don't mess with anything coated. Down in the hotel that we stayed in, it had a small kitchen, so I was able to cook while we were there. And the one frying pan had a coating in it. The others were just stainless, and so I was just using the stainless. I don't like using anything coated. That Teflon, all that stuff comes off into your food. It's really unhealthy. Trying to catch up here, see where I was. Diana says, we'll be starting some of our seeds next week. We'll also be putting peas and potatoes in the ground soon. Awesome. Key says, yesterday I harvested 2 gallons of blackberries, picked 2 crates of apples, saw 11 rabbits and 3 quail, all within 900 yards of a supermarket. That's really funny. That's also really awesome. And you are in your summer right now. Am I right? I know our seasons are swapped. if I'm correct. Carol says, fabulous, Keith. And Laura says, yummy, Keith. Who needs a grocery store when God provides so much bounty? Exactly. You know, nothing hurts me more when you're driving around and you see fruit just laying on the ground. When we got Austin's camper, we had to go to town, the big town, to look at it. And there were apple trees all on the property there, and there was nothing but apples on the ground and all being wasted. Nobody was picking them. That is just like such a crime to me. Such a crime to me. I would have asked to pick some, but I figured they were probably sprayed or who knows, in town. I don't like messing around with that because if there's any kind of spray, if they're spraying their yard, just going, I didn't want to mess with that. But out and about here, that often happens too, and I'll be real quick to ask because I don't like seeing stuff like that being wasted. Yeah, Diana asked too. It's late summer for you, right, Keith? That's what I thought too. Yeah. Oh, midsummer. Okay. All right. Thank you. I didn't see that. That's just awesome. That's so awesome. Free bounty. You got to love it. And you know, it goes to waste because nobody's, well, for starters, a lot of people today are not willing to ask or you can't ask, you know, some people don't want to be bothered, you know, so all that stuff just goes to waste and that just tears me apart. As I mentioned, it's been unseasonably warm. My bees have been making their way out and getting around. I'm suspecting we're going to have an early spring here, which is unusual, but I am expecting that. Deb said, so excited to see what my volunteer garden looks like this year. Going to be concentrating on my photography business more. Can only do so much, but know me, I'll be planning something. Oh, I'm sure you'll be planning something. It's like an addiction. So you'll probably just plan a little. You've got a lot growing on its own. Your volunteer garden is huge. Laura says, that's a great tip for keeping deer out of the garden. I know they won't jump over a fence if it's too narrow inside. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So I want to see, you know, because we've got lots of slash piles out here from logging where there's lots of little cedar poles. You know, those would be great to shove in the ground and just see what happens. Because we tried different things last year. We used cattle fence. We used the orange checkered fence that's not super high, you know, so we've been experimenting a little bit to see, and it's amazing how hard they will try. But when there's something tall like that, it really does mess with them, and they don't seem to bother. So I'd really like to do that. That'll save us a lot of money, and if that works, that's so easy, so easy. I mean, it's worked for him, so we'll just have to see. The fact that I'm feeding them here doesn't help matters any, but that's also my meat upcoming. So Deb says, my freeze dryer better start working soon so I can take care of my past harvests. Yeah, so you're still having troubles with that. That's such a shame. Laura says, I've used Ziploc baggies over the top of pots to create a mini greenhouse. Yep. That's a great way to do things. And that's a great way to repurpose those, you know, and save your old ones. Diana says, I need to go. Have a great week, everyone. Love you, lady. You have a great week also. And see you Thursday night. And happy planting. I know your weather's warm, and I know you'll do well down there. Carol says, I've put my name on a list for the local allotments here, run by our local council. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So that means that if you are chosen, then you will get some of the produce that they create. Is that what that is, Carol? That's awesome. You should. Shelley says, that would be a wonderful thing for you and Lorenzo to be able to work on this summer, Carol. Yeah, I'm making sure I'm understanding that. So that's pretty cool. And just the fact of what you did last year with your garden, I see a lot broader things happening. And as you go, as he ages, you know, that's going to be so awesome to have him excited to want to help you with that. Laura says, Square Foot Gardening has great, easy to read graphs for planting, inside, outside, transplant, and harvest info. Pease says 5 weeks before last frost. That would be the beginning of April for us. Exactly. You're probably in the same boat we are, I have to imagine. Carol says, I know, right, Shelley? I'd love a pond for frogs to keep the snails and slugs out, but got a feeling Lorenzo will get his trunks on and be swimming in it. That's funny. I think then Carol would have a section of land to garden on. Oh, that would be so awesome. Okay, so I was misunderstanding that. That would be so cool. And that's like Robin in her senior community that she's in. You know, they have created an area and a space for them to be able to garden, and each person has a spot. So that would be so awesome. Okay, I'm getting it. That's awesome. Sorry, I didn't understand. Keith says, hi, Mel. Can you contact Tammy for my email address and we can fix the celiac problem? Awesome. 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 Absolutely. I'll email that to her. I have a couple questions for you too, Keith. I'm curious. I'm really curious. I was thinking about a lot while I was gone, and I want to pick your brain. Carol says they give a plot of land. You pay $25 a year to rent it. It's yours to grow for whatever on. Oh, that is fantastic. That is so fantastic. And that'll branch out and give you opportunities. Good thinking, sister. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, once you get a plot, do you have to re-enter the next year for it, or do you automatically get to keep it and continue going? That's really awesome. A lot of different communities have started that. It's really important to check with your local, your county extension office. Whew. Now, I know overseas that'll be different. That'll be something different, but you called it a council. What did you call it? The local council. So, you know, your local counties, your local communities, check and see. And, you know, sometimes farmers may even be willing to give you a section of land in the same regard. So, you know, it'll help them sometimes in getting different things planted there. I know people that have opened them for over 40 years. Oh, that's so awesome. That's so awesome. Carol, that is a great way to expand in your small space. So awesome. Keep us posted on that. I'm really curious how that goes for you. And Shelley, you too, with your opportunity that you put in for the bonus. That's really cool. One other thing I wanted to mention to you guys with having plans is not just for your gardening. Hey, Herbert. Good morning. I want you guys to think out of the box with your planning, to have plans A, B, and C in place for all different scenarios, not just gardening. You know, your plans, I want you to have plans for your homestead. Having a plan in place is important. Those without plans perish, and that is really true because you fumble and you don't progress forward. So having plans for what you want to accomplish this year is really important. I see so many of you putting these plans in place. That is just so awesome. So awesome. I love to see what Carol is doing, and Shelley, and you know, you guys are putting these things in place. You know, Diana's planning. You know, you have your plans in place for your gardening, for your food, for even preparing. You know, as I have been talking about with the food, there's a bunch of new videos coming out. There'll be off-grid videos coming out to help you guys think about alternatives for power and simple things you could do and have in place currently in the event of the grid going down and things. We're going to really talk about that. We're going to talk more about from scratch cooking. I've got a couple recipes that I'm sharing and meal preparation that I'm sharing upcoming. But I want you guys to have a list of things you need to stock up on that maybe you can't afford to do all at once, but have that plan in place. Have that list. When you can afford, start chipping away at that list. It's going to be so important right now. I don't want you guys to get complacent. I don't want you guys to start thinking things are, you know, out of your reach because you don't have the income to do it now. You got to just keep having these things written down, have plans. The same applies for if for some reason you'd need to leave your home, I'm going to use Carol as an example because I know Carol's living in her own little bungalow in a town. Her son has land. So if things in town get a little sketchy and she needs to get out of town, you know, Carol, what kind of plan would you have in place? And if that plan is in place, what would you do if that wasn't an option and plan A wouldn't work? What would plan B look like? And if plan B wouldn't be an accessible route, what would plan C be? I say that because I really want you guys thinking about these things. I want, you know, when we had the fire out here, we had plan A, B, and C. If the fire's coming this way, we would go this place. If it was coming this direction, we would go that place. And in those scenarios, those were two separate scenarios, and there were A, B, and C for each of them. If that route wasn't safe because the fire was burning too close, what would be our plan B? What would be our plan C? Go live in my son's camper and travel. There you go. So you are understanding what I'm saying. I want you guys to have plans in place. Plans in place that if you need to leave the homestead. If you leave the homestead, what are you taking? Some of those videos that will be upcoming is your everyday carry bags. My purse is my everyday carry bag. I can grab that and it will have everything in it I need, both to shop if I needed to or to exist if I have to. And bags, the man is jamming. Bags matter. Ease of bags, how you carry those bags. My bag it has a strap that zippers apart and it turns into a backpack. I used that backpack on vacation. I had that on my back because the Harley we rented did not have saddlebags. So I needed to have on my person what I needed. So it converts very easily. There's thought in that. If my car breaks down out here, I need something I can throw on my back that's not going to keep my hands busy, that's not going to be a pain on my shoulder. You know, these are the kind of plans I'm talking about. Thinking about all of these things and just processing all of these things. And then having, you know, I've talked about the different bags, 72-hour bag, you know, all these different bags that are talked about online, and I share often, you know, having these bags is important, but if you don't know how to use what's inside of them, you're at a deficit. So these are things we're going to talk about. These are things we're going to share. I'm going to share with you what we have. I'm going to share with you what we use. I'm going to share with you how to use them. I'm going to pull up some of the Mountain Man's older videos and share that with you. Hang on, my house is going to... I'm on live right now. You may come in. That can go out in the shop. Everything in here. Your handle for your camper door? That's not me. That's not in my...
Look at how perfectly it broke up.
Well, that's good, though. That means it can either be epoxied or...
Not this kind.
What is that? I don't know if it's steel. Okay, so
it's
I am...
aluminum.
All right, we'll talk to... He knows how to weld aluminum, so you might be in luck.
That's not fixable.
Hey, he knows how to weld aluminum. You have to ask first and decide. These are all... Excuse me one second, guys. Sorry. These are all chewable except for the yellow ones and these ones, these oval ones here, okay?
Okay.
Can you give him a rundown on what he should be taking there? I'm still live.
Oh.
I'm still live.
Your mom wants that on her table.
I don't. No WD-40 in the house. All right, so I'm back. So those are the things we're going to talk about.
Stand tall.
You're in trouble.
The thing that helps you pull it closed.
I know. Well, I'm live. Right. I'm gonna keep going here, and then I'll be off in a little bit, and then I'll come chat with you. All right. Deb says howdy, Glenn. He's gone, and they're gone. All right. So the boy's handle to his. Deb said hello.
Oh, hello.
Carol's on here. You better not be.
Carol, how you doing?
Oh, that's really good. I turned the wrong machine.
Carol, how you doing?
Blondie. Grabbing machines, turning them, and all that stuff. Okay, so yeah, that was good. I'm holding this one. All right, so excuse the disruption there. Mountain Boy's handle on his camper just snapped off. So there's always interesting things happening on the homestead. So Carol says, I will send you some new pics of Lorenzo. I got him some white roses and cookies and a card for Valentine's. He was made up. I did it last year too. Oh, that's cool. Yes, I would love to see that. All right, so Shelley says, I want to figure out which trees on my son's land could be tapped to make syrup. I use about 1 liter a month. I love maple syrup. Yes. I'm trying to make sure I covered all of these. Okay, so Carol says, yes, my mountain man. She says, hi, honey, you're looking well.
Thank you. At least somebody thinks so.
Oh, I think he looks well, too.
It's just the rest of the world that might not think so. But that's okay. I don't really care.
Did you get 1 or 2 trees?
One for now. Split it and then
Go again.
go again.
All right. Well, it's sunny today. I'm going to help him get firewood later. We've been trying to get stocked back up. We had a couple cold snaps that went through some firewood. And we've got plenty here. We just got to get it and chop it and stack it. All right. So yes, Shelley, maple syrup is one of our go-tos. Also, I love maple syrup. I love having honey on hand. Having those things on hand, but having plans, that's the key thing, is understanding the plans you need to have in place. That is the important aspect of things. Did you show him what to use?
For what?
The supplements.
No, he walked off.
All right, I'll message him then. Okay.
You have to show somebody something when they walk off.
This is true. A little hard. All right. So, all right. Sorry, I was distracted and interrupted. So now I'm like, well, all right. But the key thing, though, that we will be sharing with you guys is all of these things. We've been getting a lot of questions on solar and the understanding of solar. So I'm going to do a solar series as well as the food preparedness series. So as well as, understanding what needs to go in your packs, why, how to use them, and understanding that, when you put 50 pounds in your pack, you've got to carry that. So it's understanding that you may not need all of those things, and understanding how to pack light, what you really need, and how to be efficient, because efficiency in everything really makes a difference. Both, gardening, kitchen, there's nothing I hate worse is being in the kitchen and making such a terrible mess that you spend hours later cleaning up. I like to be very efficient in my kitchen, and that enables me to have a lot more time to spend elsewhere. And it's just learning these things, Not everybody is brought up in the kitchen. I honestly was not. I conflicted with my mother so much that it just was, and it was such an unpleasant experience that I avoided it like the plague. So I didn't learn things that I would have loved to have learned at that point. I learned them from my grandparents. I learned them on my own, trial and error. And it's important that you have a good source to learn from, and that you and that you learn good skills, and that you learn how to be efficient in varying things and in varying ways, because it will definitely benefit you. So Deb says, so nice to see our mountain man in good spirits being home on the homestead with his wild woman. Yes, we are very happy to be home and together, and it was just, it was awesome. It was awesome. Yes, he's home for a bunch of days without having to leave the homestead for work, so it's been nice. We've been trying to get stuff done here. I got a new window upstairs. When we built the house, we put in a temporary window that was eventually to be used in the greenhouse, and put that in, and we were able to get the other window, and it's like night and day. It's like a picture from there now. It was an old window. It was foggy. The gas had gone out of it, so it was not easy to see out of. It was just a pain in the neck. And now we have a nice bright white framed clear window that like I said, it's like a picture. Laura says he's got his girl's approval. That's all that matters. Yep. Oh, love that man. So guys, this was I was distracted, so it's kind of, I don't want to be rambling on, but I do want to really hit it home with having plans in place, keeping your list going, keep adding to your stash. And with anything I say, I'm not trying to offend anybody. When I make suggestions, if it doesn't fit what you want to do in your life, then don't do it. But I'm making suggestions based on what I'm seeing in our current circumstances. Prices are going up. Suck things up now while you can. Keep preparing, keep purchasing things. There's a lot of squirrely stuff happening. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make any sense. There's an uncertain future in front of us, and therefore it's time to invest in our future. That's all I'm saying. And I want to just see you guys continuing to move forward and keeping yourselves in a healthy space. Keep yourselves in a healthy space. Exercise, eat good, focus on the good in your life, and just keep moving forward. We're all going to have those days. Jane mentioned it. She's back in the States. She's having troubles. I'm back in my climate. I'm having troubles. We have these troubles. You keep rolling forward. You don't focus on your ailment and your struggle. You focus on being healthy. That's the key thing. If you focus on sickness, you create sickness. If you focus on health, you create health. That's where I'm at. And that's what I want you guys to do as you are preparing forward. Just keep your head in a good space. I say it every week because I want to remind you that. I know it's really easy to slip out of that headspace. It's really easy to be brought out of that headspace with news and things that are happening. So just keep yourself in a good space. All right. I am going to say a prayer for us all, and pray for us globally. And I want to remind you guys, join the community, get in the community, keep chatting it up. I have been lacking in the community. I need to get in there. I need to start chatting things up myself. Lots of good things being shared there. Next Wednesday's Zoom will be a good one, so join us for that too. If you're not part of the community, TrayerWilderness.com/community. All right, I'm going to say a prayer for us all. Papa, I just thank you so much for this time. I thank you for loving us. I thank you for bringing us together. I thank you for all of the superpowers that are brought together in this presence, and how we love on each other, share with each other, help one another. It's so important in this day and age to have that community, that group of people that you can turn to and know that they will support you in whatever's going on. And I just thank you for, using us as a vessel to create this community, and thank you for bringing them here. Just continue to bring those people to us that we can include and share and love on, and just be with each and every one in our community today, and those watching the replay. Just touch their lives as necessary, love on them, give them the hope and peace and comfort they need to keep going forward. I lift Mill and Michael to you today. Help them, guide them, direct them, give them wisdom and knowledge, and just close those necessary doors for them and open others. And I ask that you be with Laura, strengthen her, give her healing, and help her with her taxes. Those are always grueling. Be with Shelley. Just continue to touch Shelley's life. Give her the peace and comfort she needs right now. And just help her to be productive. And thank you for touching her this week. And we lift Sarah to you. Just ask that you touch Sarah's life. Use this moment for your glory to be shining through. Just help her, and may she help others while she's present. And just be with Jane. Touch her body. Give her healing. And be with her, be with Tammy and her family as they are building. They've got their roof on and will be putting tin on soon. Just continue to help them through the process, keep them safe, continue to guide and direct them. Thank you for what you're doing there. And I just ask that you be with Deb and Bella. Just help them, help Deb get things straightened out with her freeze dryer. Be with Terry and just help him, continue to help him find himself, find his happiness, find his peace, and just guide him from there. Let him see your hand in his life. Let him see your presence. And just touch him and love on him. Be with Herbert and his family. Be with everybody here. Be with those that are in need. Be with my Linda as she's seeking work. And If I'm missing anybody, Papa, you know their needs better than I do. Just love on them, touch them, be with Austin, just touch his body, help him and heal him. Thank you that my family's together. Just touch my body too. And we lift Keith to you and just thank you for Keith and bringing him into our community, that he's been able to help us in so many different ways. And his humor is priceless as well. Good humor is hard to find sometimes, and we just thank you for his presence in our community and all that he offers to it. And Papa, I just thank you for what you're going to do in this community. I thank you for how you guide us and direct us. Just help us all to have plans. Keep us from being complacent. Keep us moving faithfully forward and keep our eyes on you. We love you, and we ask all of this in your holy and precious name of Jesus. Amen. All right, guys. I've missed you all so very much, and I'm very thankful to have you guys on here with us. I'm thankful to have you guys as a part of the community. For all of you that are joining today that don't, leave comments or participate in the live, I just encourage you to leave your comments, leave your questions. We enjoy being able to answer those questions through videos. We enjoy being able to get to know you, so don't hesitate in leaving comments, and no question is foolish. Questions are how you learn, so don't hesitate to ask questions. If you're concerned about leaving things online, you can always email us at survive@trayerwilderness.com or join our private community, trayerwilderness.com/community. I love you guys all so much. Carol, I didn't pray for you, but I am praying for you and will be praying for you with the heavy winds. I'm sorry I missed you in the prayer. I'm trying to remember everybody. But we will continue to pray for you and check on you. I'm glad that everybody's getting healthy. How is your son, Carol, before I jump off of here? How is he doing? I'm sure he's lost a lot of stones, being unable to move and everything. Then again, maybe he might have gained some. But hopefully his surgery, is it still upcoming? Let me know on that. Oh, wow. I just saw that Carol shared that our local shop is selling fruit trees for $7. I'm excited. Oh, yeah. If you can get those and plant those. And Shelly, I wish you luck in figuring out what trees your son has that you can tap into. There's a lot of trees that you can actually tap into. So be curious to see what you find there and what he has. But Carol, let me know. If not on here, message me and let me know how your son's doing. And guys, thanks so much for joining. We have a lot of videos queued. I tried to share the Monday Inspiration on Instagram like probably 20 times, and it would not allow me to upload that video. So the enemy didn't want it on Instagram for some reason. I'm going to keep trying. I have to run out of here later this week. So when I run out one day, I'm going to try to do it when I'm out. But just crazy. I don't know about you guys, but I've been noticing a lot of technology glitches with the internet and with cell. And they're supposed to be turning on 5G on the 19th, I believe, is the date. So I suspect things are going to get squirrely. So the community is a steadfast if you have internet. I don't know about YouTube and all those other things and Instagram and all that, how things are going to fare. But the community is a steadfast. So, I can't encourage you enough to join us there. I created that so that we have control and we can talk about anything. So if you have things to talk about that you are concerned about, join the community and communicate there if you're afraid to share it on any of the social media, because we're willing to talk about anything. So guys, I love you all. I'm going to wish you a wonderful rest of your week. I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday on Zoom. Yes, many internet issues for me right now. Yeah, and I experienced a ton when I was in Florida. It was really weird. The one day I couldn't send a text out to a group of girls I couldn't text that. I was getting errors with that, and I was able to upload really fast out there. Obviously, my internet is not as fast as I thought it was, but lots of weird issues. I experienced them while we were traveling too, so I suspect that things are going to get squirrelier as we go. So keep your plans in place. and keep seeking him. Can't specify that enough. Create that relationship. But guys, I love you all. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week. And I'll see you on Zoom next Wednesday. God bless.